First off is topicality. A, interpretation. Overrule is the rule contrary to the original decision holding. Overrule is to decide the same point of law contrary to the original decision. This in Delacomm Dictionary of Legal Use in 92. Overrule to render decision disproving of an earlier decision contrary to the earlier decision. B, violation. Morrison held that civil remedies were unconstitutional on the Commerce and 14th Amendment grounds. This is Boston Public International Law Review 2002. The Supreme Court held the United States versus Morrison passing the law Congress conceded powers under the Commerce Clause and 14th Amendment of the Morrison Community Court invalidated Section 13981. And B is and C is reasons vote negative. 1, limits explosive negative research burden because anything could be topic. There are hundreds of treaties, international organizations, amendments, and legal doctrines that could have been considered by the court, but weren't. There's only a small number that actually been considered. As 2, grounds of court decisions that are merited on their presidential value. It's determined by the grounds of the system. We lose all stable grounds of decisions have an unprecedented precedential effect. They can claim a huge advantage off ruling on a ground that has nothing to do with the original case. Next, opposite framework. First, A is the framework. The affirmative must defend a topical policy. Option B is our framework is resolutionally based. The resolution expresses the policy implying court's action. This is Ulrich in 286. There are a number of 3 types of debate. Topic policy suggests that a specific action should be taken. For example, resolve the electoral college should be abolished. And 2, resolve expresses determination of policy. Course of action. This is Random House in 2006. Resolve to settle, determine, or say formally and vote a resolution of a deliberative act or assembly. And 3, should implies policy. It expresses the Supreme Court has a duty or obligation. This is American Heritage Dictionary in 2004. Should expresses a duty or obligation. You should send her a note. And 4, the United States Supreme Court is the one established by the Constitution. This is American Dictionary of Legal Terms in 98. Supreme Court, the highest court of the appellate court. The U.S. Supreme Court is expressly provided by the Constitution with such judicial power in the Supreme Court. And C, our first impact is informed decision making. They destroy this by skewing fair ground in 3 ways. First is predictability. One policy worded debate is crucial to predictable ground. There are an infinite number of potential non-policy options, unrelated topics that we're unprepared to discuss. And second is implementation. Their framework excludes question of specific actors, mechanisms, implementation, and transition, spiking out a crucial negative ground argument. And 3, app is conditional. Only a resolutionally based plan prevents shifting advocacy. Their framework allows vagueness, allowing the app to become moving target, which choice, discussion, advocacy, and skills in fair ground. And 4, the impact is the destruction of informed decision making. There are unpredictable and vague forms of argumentation, including informed discussion, that rigorously test the merits of their approach. This collapses typical deliberation and prevents a full analysis of their plan. This is Shively in 2000. They must recognize the role of agreement in political contrast. Debates in courts that it has to be necessary to discord. In most cases, our agreements are highly imperfect. We can agree on some matters than others, but not in the specific. This kind of agreed limitation is the starting condition of debate. This reverse is true. There can be no argument except on the premise and within the context of agreement. If we cannot agree on the topic in terms of argument, if we have utterly different ideas about what counts as evidence or good argument, we must agree about what is being debated before we can debate it. One cannot have an argument with about euthanasia without someone who thinks euthanasia is a musical group contest is meaningful if there's lack of agreement or communication about what is being contested. And D is emotional hijacking. Our framework includes projects like personal stories and narratives that engage in a project of emotional hijacking. This is critical because there's an invisible threshold for knowing when even innocently conceived words might have a devastating effect on someone. When a debate is about our personal lives instead of our policy issues, we risk intruding on and damaging other people's personal lives. This is Tannen in 98. Inman describes his personal attack and criticism. I wake up thinking about the stories, the hostile stories, not all the friendly ones. His sense of humor disappeared. He became short-tempered. He lost sleep. Part of the cult of objectivity is lack of responsibility for the human suffering. The only way anyone can think about the attacks not being taken personally is to ignore the facts of the object attack of the human being. A single critic can make someone want to quit their job or even actually quit. Words can like weapons of destruction. They take so little of for so few to tear it down. This thin skin is the only kind of skin that human beings come with. The entire cultural law loses a measure of humanity when we deny this truth. In addition, the role-playing, the topic for the process requires an immense amount of community deliberation, outside input. Future reforms solve any current problems with the process. This is Galloway in 2006. Efforts to rewrite the topic would replace an ideological structure with the work of the committee. The committee received total legal input. I vetted approximately 50 emails from legal alumni before we got started. We received excellent commentary on the seat blog from some legal experts. Well, ensure that input like hers makes directly on the valid choice in the future. In addition, role-playing in the Supreme Court is good. It's necessary to learn the language of the state. Their form of opposition will be transferred. This is Sullivan in 95. A politics pursuit solely to show, not preclude, will only be successful with later theoretical term. A cultural strategy is a political strategy. It's aimed one for minority and absolute vast majority of people will be best interested in the worst hostile in society, where the state acts not skits, where laws are passed according to the rules of society. Operates cultural is not enough, may be necessary, but it's not sufficient to achieve the actual results. In addition, role-playing the government is the only way to assess state action or our knowledge of challenges. It's Galloway in 2001. Role-playing the USFG might help learn how the USFG functions and operates, maintains stability. It also teaches not everything USFG does matter. The state has some beneficial effects. If we want to expand the government policy, why not defend the government and interpretation life force? We affirm Q. This provides for the discourse and counter discourse to provide a deeper tone for the argument than one is likely to hear. Next off is the criticism. The affirmative labels there one you see is an activist protest against health notification. However, this gesture is not politically meaningful, but it's rather a part of a psychological strategy designed to maintain a stable, unfragmented identity. These attempts to protest the symbolic order are in actuality what's attained. It is not the desire to tear down the symbolic, but the enjoyment gained by the process of protesting that motivates these demands. This is Carlson in 99. The bureaucracy crushes trust and controls. The legal thought is the bureaucracy cannot be distinguished from it. The legal thought tried to balance confidence and the bureaucracy would instantly crush. Legal thinkers serve as kind of PR firm for the bureaucratic thing. Legal scholars sold out to the bureaucracy. The bureaucracy is therefore the other of the other, a hidden subject who pulls the strings of the other two. Word off, you break down the paranoid vision, holds together symbolic order, and therefore presents the subject. From slipping into the psychotic state in which the country loses its power over the entire system and determination. This means the bureaucracy is the very savior of romantic metaphysics. If the romantic program were ever filled, if bureaucracy were to full of its objectivity would be sued and be enveloped and killed the United States conservatives organize their efforts by opposing communism. As long as communist suggestions conservatives it could be perceived when communist spirit conservatives saw the lack of purpose secretly rejected this appearance within a short time. The new enemy moves on. The romantic yearning for our wholeness is the opposite of what appears to be paranoid, seem to be emphasis in order to organize our enjoyment. In addition, resistance make ideology fun. The one who sees protests constitute a retreat to the private sphere, to laugh and ridicule the evil they represent, knowing that the local nature of their project means that their demand will never be taken seriously. The apolitical nature of this debate around guarantees their actions will be discarded and dismissed. This is Zizek in 95. Kunders Thomas were heralded in the West Velvet Revolution, yet in his own country the attitude towards them orthodox dissent was uneasiness. The axis of struggle against the universe's work seemed to be the opposition between the pretentious pathos of the official socialist language and the islands of everyday private life which they enjoyed. They pledged laughter and tear down to the regional ideology. These islands enabled to the distance which run to the visible, the ideological ritual in Spain. Ridiculous, pretentious, and grotesque, meaningless. It's not just some trouble to revolt against the official ideological speeches on freedom and democracy. Sooner or later, such the private indulgence and cynicism, obsession with the private pleasure, all precisely how totalitarian ideological operates in the non-ideological everyday life. It is how it's determined by the ideology, or how ideology is presented as a mode of absence. The deepest politicized sphere in no way functions than freedom and instant pleasure. There's always something deeper in the totalitarian ideological vitiates from within the very sphere in which we take reference. The enjoyment of this very stupidity of the system and relish in the emptiness of the official ritual, the worn out stylistic figures dominating ideological discourse. Insofar as we are individuals to be condemned for the embassy that we can assume a minimal distance from it, thus more bearable, we can never be rid of it completely. In addition, don't believe the one who sees harms claims and case debate. First is pedagogies of the oppressed recreate hierarchy. Someone will inevitably excluded by proven by Freire's anthropocentrism. This is standard 98. I am disheartened by the flagrant anthropocentrism in the courts that cannibals in nature would occupy an inferior place relative to sleeping substitute animals are completely beings. He has no unconsciously reinscribed hierarchical order. The world somewhat indirectly contributed to the exploitation and subjugation of non-humans by the race. They view it as a fundamental contradiction for his rhetoric of love and humility. In addition, focusing on liberation of the oppressed is a failed strategy. This reinforces the form of banking education where ideas are imposed upon the oppressed and excluding, denying agencies to those who disagree. This is race and pedagogy project to this 5. Critical pedagogy is problematic because it only reinforces the bank dynamic by forcing progressive ideologies upon students, supports the predetermined outcome based on the assumed true position of the future. Opposite to the critical pedagogy rights, not for the desire to maintain conservative system, rather to avoid reinsurance of the oppression of oppositional pedagogy promoted by silencing, denying the authentic agency of the student who has an alternative point of view. To take seriously the objection to unpersuaded seems to blur serious limitation about the ethical and strategical grounds. In addition, approaches to liberate the oppressed, fail, and marginalize it assumes the powerlessness of groups and predetermined solutions that essentialize and impose the conformity. This is Blackburn in 2000. Ferber has always had a claim of it ideologically childly, but built in his claim for two assumptions that the oppressed have no power in the first place, and that the outsider possesses the secret formula on which they must be initiated. Even in political context, extreme exploitation, those who appear powerless and fatalistic may in fact power in a way itself the waste of Latin America's indigenous population have tried to disvalue the traditional vernacular forms of power. People who are now perceived themselves as powerless may not ability to be the power to say what they say being prescribed. Education might be unable to struggle with the oppression or may misuse the position to manipulate those who which they potentially have so much power. Some may lack simply earn a person's scope to require external actions. Jobs superiors also suffer from an inherent tendency to impose their own ideological frameworks. In addition, turn is third-party liability. The civil remedies lead to third-party suits which salute the fight against gender violence. This is Casarino 96. Allowing civil remedies in rape cases to encourage victims who are unable to get a criminal verdict against their attack to come forward and enter against their judgment against third party has absolutely no turn effect or punitive damage on the rape itself. It salutes the suggesting the employer shares responsibility for the attacker's forms. The focus on third-party negligence diverts attention from the attacker. In addition, acquaintance rape, the term acquaintance rape, civil remedies delegitimize the case of acquaintance rape. I actually need the second one.
From the Freire stuff?
Yeah, I have to mark that. Sorry.
Can you show me questions? So what should debate be about?
A topical policy option.
Why?
Well, I mean, we were providing multiple reasons, such as role-playing the federal government is necessary to actually challenge the policies of the government. Like, for instance, personal stories can sometimes have unintended consequences. If we were to just debate about personal stories, then debate would inevitably involve to personal attacks on the other team.
So, really quick, if we read personal stories under a topical plan, that emotional stuff goes away?
Yeah,
Or
because
is that
then you
emotional
can.
stuff always true? I mean, what's the difference?
Well, you can discuss the actual implementation of the plan. For instance, if you had read emotional stories and like enacted civil remedies, then we could contest whether civil remedies were able to solve for this, or offer a counter proposal to how to better solve. So I mean, you wouldn't actually be attacking the other person; you would be attacking the implementation.
Okay, so the action they take personally attacks you, and that's why your card is valid.
No, our card is about, if all debate is personal stories, the only way to actually engage those stories is to engage the arguments that they make. So that our card indicates that causes us to attack the other individual, or because those are their stories. So
Okay.
every time we engage your personal story, or you engage our personal story,
Okay.
that causes kind of personal attacks. And we say
Okay,
that it's
why,
not bad.
okay, aside from that, why is that role-playing education important? What does
Right.
that do?
I mean, we read a few pieces of evidence. The Sullivan evidence, I believe, I believe you have that.
Yeah.
And if you don't mind me taking a look, so I can draw out some more of the warrants. But it indicates that like you have to actually learn the language of the sort of the oppressors in order to actually oppose them. Because if you don't know like how, like for instance, the government operates, then you'll never be able to like institute change within the government. I believe it's
That,
what the
okay,
Sullivan
that part, the Sullivan evidence also talks about how minorities are left behind if you only focus on the culture. But the culture that it's talking about is a capitalistic culture. It talks about in a society where market rules the culture, majorities always win. How does the AF do that? Well, how does the AF focus on that the
Right, our-
privileged culture?
It's descriptive of the status quo, right? We are in a capitalist culture. Your focus on minority culture is going to be undermined by the nature of the system.
Carlson evidence. How do we activist protest that link to what Carlson's talking about?
Right, I mean, our link is that your personal stories, and that you're saying that, like, you can create this dialogue. For instance, like, you're saying that, like, we create a narrative between the liberationists versus why you should win. It's not, like, that you have an external source, like, a plan that you should win, because it's the focus
So we
on
can
you.
talk
I mean,
about what
it's-
liberation means
right,
as long as we have a
It's
plan.
your liberation goal is not meant to succeed. You've been doing your kind of activist project for how long, and it has not succeeded in adapting a dialogue and debate. Our argument is that it's not designed to achieve that
So
kind of
you're
dialogue.
gonna make the claim like all the judges that a judge does know nothing still about what
No, our argument is
South
that
Asia
they know
is?
things. It's that the debate is itself has not become a dialogue about liberating the oppressed, which is your end goal.